As always, we'll begin with a moment of silence. Grounding in ourselves through a couple of long breaths that we're actually present for. Experiencing those sensations as they flow through. And since we're feeling generous today, we'll take another long breath. And through our hearts, we can change channels, shift vision to seeing and feeling into the depths of the great ocean, the source of us all, the source of all and everything. We ourselves are made of that same stuff, the qualities of which are ultimate connection, of course, because of unity. At this level, we can feel that. And so ultimate love is a natural quality of this space. Ultimate compassion. Ultimate power, because this source can give rise to anything and everything, as it does every moment, giving rise to us moment to moment. And so we feel our true natural kinship with all beings. And in these troubled times, we feel great compassion for ourselves and all and everyone. And because we're moved by this compassion, we're here together today. And we feel our natural connection. The beyond Zoom connection of being fellow waves on the ocean coming together for this practice today, for the benefit of all. So I think most of you know how I work, but for anybody new, you'll want a pencil and paper. And I'd like you to write on the paper right now what your intent and motivation are for this session that we're doing together today. So I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit, and I'm going to give you a longer motivation from me for calling us together. I wanted to share with you a simple practice that was given to me by Drikung Khandro, who is one of the greatest, most enlightened beings on the planet today. She resides in Tibet. And well, the dog just came in again. Long story, but she actually assigned this practice to me a few years ago. And I loved it so much. It was so simple, direct, and powerful that I wanted to share it with my fellow Westerners. And it is a practice of Chenrezi, also known as Avalokiteshvara. So Chenrezi is the Tibetan, Avalokiteshvara is the Sanskrit. I thought that if we recorded this today, we're just recording me, so everybody else can relax. But that would make it possible for anybody who wants to share with others, for example, your learning circle, you'd be able to do it easily. And if you want me to, and you'll find, I think even today, without being familiar with the practice, explore and notice how it is to do this in a group. And then take it into your own practice and see, how is it doing it on my own? What are the differences? What are the pros and cons? And then once you familiarize yourself with the practice, then sharing it with others and doing it in the group setting. I'll just share what I find, which is that there is a power that comes when many people are focusing on the same thing at the same time. And Tibetans are aware of this power, that then we all carry each other to a place that we couldn't have perhaps gotten to so easily on our own. So the sum is greater than the parts. And one way we can understand that is the difference between regular diffuse light and laser light, where the waves are going up and down in a coherent way. It's known as coherent light. So when we make our thoughts coherent with each other in a group, and yes, even on Zoom, I've discovered that we do bring the power of laser light, if you will. But instead of just going in one direction, it goes in all directions, including ourselves. We become elevated by the power of the group focusing on the same thing at the same time. And so the Tibetans use archetype to do this: archetypal image, archetypal sound, all of which helps us to, if we don't really have a channel changer that we can use easily for, how can I say, focusing in on, for example, the principle of compassion, which is what we're focusing on today, we can help ourselves using archetypal image and archetypal sound, because the pure archetype of compassion is kind of difficult for us to, to grab a hold of, because it's not substantial and we're used to sort of substantial things. We're stuck on that channel, if you will. So we're going to take advantage of these Tibetan methods so that we can help ourselves to move into this channel of compassion, this principle of compassion, which is personified by Chenrezi. So I'll introduce you to the Tibetan use of archetype, and then introduce you to Chenrezi, and then I'll share this practice, again, that was given to me by Jigme Khandro. I think of this practice as an antidote to what I think is the essence of the problems of our times. I was motivated to offer this practice at this time because I think we all see we're all in trouble. There's a lot of trouble in all directions. There's climate emergency. There's a pandemic that is refusing to go away just because we want it to. And it's mutating and churning in the countries that haven't been able to get vaccines, and so on and so forth. there's a huge me first attitude that comes from the mistaken understanding that there's self and other. In Buddhism, that's understood to be sort of the mother of all problems, because it's a mistaken perception. And as soon as we perceive me other, then it's me against everybody else to get what I need. If we're the whole ocean, and it's just one big thing, we can enjoy the patterns of the waves and everything, but we know we're wave and ocean. If we really are sitting within that reality, then we don't have to worry about getting mine. We're the whole ocean. What do we need? There's nothing we need. And the other waves aren't going to mess up this little wave, because I'm not just this little wave. I'm the whole ocean. So compassion is a very popular antidote to the me first kind of motivation. And it's an antidote to the very root of that, which is this self-other perception, which leads to ego clinging. So the ego isn't a problem. That's just a psychic organ, if you will. But clinging to ego and thinking that's who I am, that's when the problem begins. And so we hope to use this practice to expand beyond that, and also to inject just the right medicine into the shared mind, if you will, of humanity. That's just what we all need to find our way out of this mess. So I was motivated deeply to offer this practice to you, which is a precious one to me. And hopefully, if you really take it and work with it, and share it with others and work with them, you might find that you're offering something really potent to our shared mind, the shared mind of humanity and of the whole ocean. And the more people who do this in various ways, the more that shared mind is affected. And even though there is such a strong clinging to being asleep and dreaming this pretty terrible dream, hopefully we can help wake ourselves up. So that was a much longer sharing of my motivation, but I hope it also introduces you to what we're doing today. So Marissa, if you could show the practice on the screen. So now you can really see this image, and go ahead and lean in and have a good look. This is Chenrezi. So this is an archetypal image of compassion. And to tell you a little bit of a story about Chenrezi, he's a bodhisattva, a great bodhisattva, who reached the highest levels of realization to the point where he was about to melt into the ocean of oneness, the great source, and entirely give away his personal sense of ego or waveness at all. But he stopped just short of that, because he wanted that last bit of personal motivation to go to bringing compassion to all beings. And sometimes when he wants to help fish, he appears as a fish. And sometimes he appears as a human. They say that the Dalai Lama is an emanation of Chenrezi and has been in each of his lifetimes. And they say that green Tara is the female archetypal image of Chenrezi. So while he is white like a conch shell, and they think of conch shell as being very pure, she is green. She is Mother Nature. She's the mother of us all. And her right foot is sticking out, ready to leap to our aid if we call on her. Chenrezi here is depicted with 4 arms, but he also appears with 1,000 arms, reaching out in all directions to help all of us, because he is compassion personified. So please sit with this image, and actually, if you know shamatha, please do shamatha with this image as your object of support. And for anyone who doesn't know shamatha, really all you have to do is sit and let your eyes rest on this image, one point after another, letting it impress itself on your retina and in your brain and in your mind. And so building on our natural, or I should say, habitual, very ingrained human habit of internal conversations, we're going to turn that habit toward enlightenment. So rather than having an internal conversation with somebody you have some problem with, rehearsing what you're going to say or some such thing, instead, see Chenrezi a little bit above and in front of you. And you can keep using this image as your reference. Or you can just rest your eyes on the image and imagine that it's above you. What we're going to do is say the one short sentence and then recite Chenrezi's name. Because people have been reciting his name for more than 1,000 years. Many great beings. And so it carries a power with it. And we'll recite together now. Bodhisattva of great mind and great compassion. Highest Chenrezi, the powerful. I pay homage. I make offerings and take refuge. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. So you keep reciting and I'll talk a little bit. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. So all you have to do is recite this very quietly under your breath with just the tiniest little bit of voice so that the vibration goes out. And you're making that connection through archetypal sound. and through engaging with this image that is associated with great compassion. People have asked me, so is Chenrezi real? And the answer is no more or less real than you or I. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. So try making yourself porous and soaking in the rays, pouring off of Chenrezi. Brilliant white rays are going out in all directions, and of course, to you as well. At his heart, he's holding the blue wish-fulfilling gem. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. And keep soaking up those rays. Letting yourself become deeply imbued with compassion. It's kindling the great compassion within yourself, because of course you and I are made of the great ocean. This principle of reality is within and throughout everything and everyone. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. You might find moments where you're able to really just rest in that pure mind of compassion, that great mind of compassion, Bodhisattva. And then the words fall away. And when we become distracted, we return to the support of the image and the word. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. And when it brings you back to that pure, wordless state, rest in it again until you become distracted and you use the methods again and come to that wordless, perfect compassion, enlightened place again and again. Chenrezi, Chenrezi. And when we're able to rest in this place, we are one with the essence of the Dalai Lama, of Jigung Khandro, of all the great bodhisattvas who are motivated purely by compassion. And while it's easier to project our qualities that we're not so clearly aware of, such as this, then the practice leads us to becoming one with it. And so Chenrezi now melts into light, dissolves into us through the tops of our heads, down the central energy channel, and into our hearts. And we rest in complete unity. Now we arise ourselves as Chenrezi. And now as we recite the word, we see the rays going out in all directions, touching all beings. And as the rays touch all beings, they also turn into Chenrezi. Compassion is kindled. We imagine that now all beings are becoming purified. Huge ones, tiny ones, middle-sized ones, slightly tiny ones. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. So the light rays, see them going out in all directions. From our heart, our perfectly compassionate heart to all beings. Brilliant white rays. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. And so all of the beings, like popcorn, pop into Chenrezis, who are also reciting this and blazing out rays in all directions. Chenrezi, 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 Chenrezi. And now we are all Chenrezis sitting in the pure realm, the Buddha field of Chenrezi, as it's depicted in the picture, with green grass and flowers and blue, blue sky. And the reciting comes to a stop. And we dissolve the whole image from the outside in, the pure realm, all of the beings who have been transformed into Chenrezi, all drawing into ourselves as Chenrezi. And we ourselves dissolve from the outside into our hearts. Melting into that state before formation, before manifestation. Unity. Purely aware, purely compassionate, purely joyful. And we rest in this. And we'll savor for one more breath. And now please write down how you feel right now. And also write down what happened. What happened for you?
Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And again. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani
rest in the state of pure compassion for all troubled beings in these very troubled times. Thank you all.
Thank you.